sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. Woo! And we're talking all athletes. Good morning, everybody. Hello, this is Erica, the Queen of Teen here in Santa Barbara. I can't say sunny because we still have the little, I don't want to even say. They used to say,
pesky marine layer, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, and it's nice. It's crisp in the morning when you get up and you look out there. Is it? You have a big fog bank where you're at, Dr. D, because you're in the mountains.
We have it very early in the morning, if at all, but by the time the sun starts to rise in the mountains there, it's kind of burned off. Around 7:30 as I'm heading down the hill, down 154, I hit the marine layer. So, it's up fairly high, but some mornings it's usually burned off by the time we get the sunrise.
Well, once it burns off, what you do is I look out at the horizon and I see Alex Ramirez, lifting kettlebells. And, that's a nice thing. That's what I do. That's what you need. You need to have a smoke machine coming out of Santa Barbara's fog bank. There he is.
There you go.
Right on that yoga mat lift. How you doing, Alex?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We also have in the house Adele Luttrell. She's going to be talking to us a little bit later about. She's going to come up with something, and I'm really excited about it. How you doing, Adele?
Doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna be letting more and more people into the room here. Of course, Dominique Hackett. Dominique, you've got something for us later. Do you little cozy tale?
I got a cozy tale.
All right.
Nice.
A cozy tale.
Yeah, cozy tale. Just looking forward to it. All right, so we're all in the house. We are all here. So let's get to it. We're going to start off with Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior Romy.
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. This is Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior, reporting back from Santa Barbara, California, for this week's SB Dawn Sports Recap, which goes out to my friend, Kaylin. With the school year coming to an end, our recaps are unfortunately getting smaller and smaller, as fewer sports teams remain competing or in season. But one team still going strong is our track team. Andres Dibdahl and Davis Flanagan qualified for the State Track and Field Championships next weekend with strong finishes at the CIF Masters Meet on Saturday. Andres Dibdahl, a junior, finished fourth in that race, and Flanagan, a senior, finished fourth in the long jump with a leap of 21:10. Of Dibdahl and Flanagan, both boys understood the situation and did exactly what they needed to, head coach Olivia Perdices said. State meet has been a huge goal all season for these guys, and I'm so happy for them to be there. So massive congratulations to both Andreas and Davis, and I really wish them luck and hope they finish strong in state championships next weekend. Unfortunately, because the school year is so close to coming to an end, track team is the final team still in competition. So it's a much shorter recap this week, but it'll be fun to hear how they do next week, so make sure to tune in. That's going to be it for this week's SB Dons recap, and see you next time.
Thank you, Romy. The sports recaps, I mean, we're whittling down, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a senior in high school and ready to start your next chapter. And most of our co-hosts are going to be going on, and I hope and pray that this program has been a great platform to them. And thank you again and again and again, Dr. D, for all the love and support. Les Carroll, KZSBAM News Press Radio, for giving these kids the opportunity to do some broadcasting. So thank you, D.
Absolutely. Anytime, you know that. I want to hand the baton off.
As they say.
Yeah, as they say.
So it's gonna be nice being able to check in on them as they do their next hopefully continue broadcasting. It looks like they all, I'm not sure about Valerie, she's not a senior yet, but they all have told me that they want to continue. So there you go.
All right.
I call them more little candles in the night, right?
That's right.
That's what they are.
1,000 points of light. You betcha.
That's it. Love it. That's what we hear. We birthed them 13 years now. All right, DP High School Chargers, Valeria. She's going to be the class president next year as a junior. Valeria.
Thanks, Erica. And hey, everyone, I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, and I'm back with this week's Charger Recap. The last sport playing for Dos Pueblos this year is boys tennis, and they played in their first round of CIF individuals. Doubles partners Julian Choi and Kyan Kushko represented DP, but unfortunately lost the first round. There is currently no more sports for DP, but it was a great year full of wins for the Chargers. So for my shout out this week, I want to give a huge shout out to all the athletes of Dos Pueblos. Let's keep winning those games, Chargers. I also want to give a huge shout out to Erica for giving me the opportunity to do these sports recaps this year. Thank you so much, you're amazing. And with that, that is the end of the Dos Pueblos Chargers sports recaps for the 2022-2023 school year. I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Valeria. All right. Only a couple left. We have San Marcos High School Royals, Royal Duet, Ambrose Partee, Sammy Schaefer. Talk to me.
Thanks, Erica. It's Sammy and Ambrose here with your weekly sports update.
Starting off with golf, our boys won the CIF SS Division II Golf Championship on Tuesday at River Ridge Golf Course, Par 72, Victoria Lakes Course in Oxnard.
Our boys compiled a team score of 366, which was 6 over par for 5 players.
The UC Davis bound Leo Metzger shot a 4 under 68, tying for the low round of the day, and Shams Jahangir Arshad carded a 2 under 70.
They were followed by Graham Chapman with a 73, Jeffrey Forrester at 75, and Brody Ritchie with an 80.
The boys did such a great job today handling the pressure and playing solid golf, said Coach Jeff Ashton. Brody had a huge hole out from a bunker on a really tough hole, and Leo and Shams just continued to impress, shooting yet another round under par.
Great job, boys. Now moving on to baseball, our boys made program history last Friday, advancing to their first ever CIF baseball semifinal.
Cole Schoenwetter and Darren Orlando pitched the Royals into program history with a combined 1-hit, 11-strikeout shutout performance at Redlands East Valley on Friday in a CIF SS Division III quarterfinal game.
Brad Chicana followed up with a single in the middle to score Caden Hodina, and Patrick Kelly singled to the left for an RBI as Owen Esbrook dashed home from second base.
Schoenwetter finished with 10 strikeouts and 4 walks and then was relieved by Orlando in the 7th.
And the boys continue to make history as they advance to their first ever CIF Southern Section championship game.
The Royals accomplished the achievement behind a shutout pitching performance from Caden Hodina and a 2-run homer by Owen Estabrook to defeat Westlake 2-0 in the Division III semifinals on Tuesday at Pac Joe Mueller Field.
Hodina went the distance and allowed 4 hits while striking out 7 and frustrated Westlake hitters with a variety of off-speed pitches and breaking balls.
He got soft contact throughout the game, allowing 1 runner to get into the scoring position, which came in the first inning.
The Royals had the first serious scoring chance in the 3rd inning as Stephen Bradley and Hodina reached 2nd and 3rd with 1 down.
But Volantis was able to get out of the inning with a strikeout and a pop-out.
San Marcos loaded the bases in the 4th inning but were denied again by Volantis.
The Royals finally broke through the 5th inning as Estabrook went to the opposite field on a Volantis fastball for a 2-run homer.
The SM defense came up with a huge play on the top of the 6th as Bradley made a diving catch in the right center gap to save extra bases from Westlake.
From there, the battery of Hodina and Estabrook controlled the 7th inning for the history-making victory.
Before the game, we talked a bunch and pretty much mapped out what we were going to do, stated Owen Estabrook. Hodina went out there and just showed what he could do and trusted himself. He went out there, threw strikes, and did his job.
Coach Gon Gibson said, "These boys worked their butts off and they deserve a shot at this."
And this week's shoutout goes to boys baseball. Congrats on making it so far at CIF.
That's what we have for you this week.
Back to you, Erica.
Thank you, everybody. So looking forward to your next chapter in your life, being able to, I Facebook friended everybody. A lot of them say, "Oh, I don't have Facebook." I said, "So, well, you have to. I mean, you got to stick with the generation here." I know, right? And Dell's like, "What? Facebook?" I know. It's all, I don't know, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. But, that's the only way you get to reach out and look at people and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Dominique, do you want to go up first?
No, let's have Adele.
Oh, we're going to start off with Adele Luttrell right after these messages.
Fentanyl death is not a high. Don't let fentanyl lie. A killer in disguise that will make you die. Fly away peacefully from the mountains to the sky. Justin Bruce Forrester, 2/22/22, age 22. He left us all without saying goodbye.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
Good morning. This is Adele Marie Luttrell, licensed marriage and family therapist from Torrance, California. And I wanted to talk today about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I have 3 tips that can help teens and all of us to have better mental health. The first tip is that we need to start thinking about what we're thinking about. Very often we have a lot of negative thoughts, and negative thoughts do not contribute to a good mood. In fact, they make us feel grumpy. We feel a low mood, and sometimes we even get depressed. And it's depressed people do have a lot of negative thoughts. But it's not necessarily your fault. Our brains have been wired since the beginning to be attracted to the negative. It was something that was in our DNA or is in our DNA to help us survive. But nowadays, we don't need that as a way to survive. And we really have to take care of ourselves and notice when we are thinking. I call it stinking thinking. And so one thing we can do is just notice, hey, I'm really thinking negatively, and negativity attracts negativity. So really changing the negative thinking to just think about something positive, replace that negative thought with something positive. You can do that in the moment. And the other thing is that you can challenge that negative thought. You can say, is this true? For example, you may think, oh, nobody at school likes me. They think I'm weird. Well, is that really true? And think about it and see if there's evidence to the contrary. For example, you might say, well, Billy invited me to the football game on Friday, so maybe somebody does like me. And you really have to challenge your negative beliefs and your negative thoughts because they're not necessarily the truth, or at least the whole truth. So that's the first thing we can do. The second thing we can do is that we can linger and focus and dwell on any positive experience. And I think you were calling it a cozy tale, Dominique, and there's that other word, hookah. Those are examples of positive things that we can dwell on. So as I said, our brains are wired to think of the negative, and when positive things happen, it's like Velcro, they roll off. We just take them for granted. We don't really stop, pause, think about that good experience that we're having, that good feeling that we're having. But that's really important to help wire our brains to be more happy, to have more joy in our life. And it's also showing gratitude when we take a moment and pause and really think about something good that's happening. So those 2 things can really help you. And the third one is so easy, it takes a quarter of a second, and it is to smile. I do this all the time because I have a grumpy face. I'm just always in some kind of a thought or mood, or not necessarily bad mood, but I notice I'm not smiling. But if you smile, you instantly feel better. Everybody try it now. Don't you feel better? That's because endorphins are released. Endorphins are the feel-good hormone that we get after working out in sports. You guys that are all out there into sports, when you have a good workout, endorphins are released. You feel good. You can smile. And I try to do this all day long to get rid of my grumpy scowl and to feel better. So everybody can do this. Everybody can think about their stinking thinking and replace it with some better thoughts. People can learn to dwell on their positive experiences and really linger and have gratitude, and then we can all smile. So I hope that these suggestions help you all out, and I think that we can all do them.
Nice. I love it. Dominique.
I really appreciate the comment that our brains are geared to focus and witness for us the negativity in order to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's not your fault that negative thinking is coming through. I have another good friend who says, "Oh, thank you for that information, but it's not the loudest voice in my head. It's just one of the voices." And she just, when her body presents, imagery of negative things, she just goes, "Thank you for that. Now I'm going to think about this."
Great. I love that. Yeah, so you're not judging yourself for having the negative thought because it's just natural.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Christine.
Well, I think that, when we catch ourselves having negative thoughts, which we do all the time, sometimes I'm surprised. I remember once I something difficult was happening in my life, and like one of the meanest thoughts for myself ever happened, and I went, "Oh, who said that?" And I was like, "That's not true." It was me who said it, and so I really realized. Yeah. So I was really like, wow, oh my gosh. And so then what I like to do when that happens is I will say to myself, cancel. And then I'll think of at least 3 things that are counter that thought for myself. And I say that differently. And so that's been a really important thing for me. And also when I read Tarot, I would call myself a magnificent reframer because there's always negative things that happen all the time. And I remember one time when I was, I lost a job and it was like one of my favorite jobs. And I was just like, and I was like, whoa. But then I decided, okay, I wonder what's going to happen next. And people would say, what? You don't know? And I would say, I don't, but I wonder what's going to happen. And they wanted me to be upset. But I was like really trying to cultivate in myself a space of wonder versus a space of anxiety.
Wonderful. Yeah, I like the reframe idea because there are different ways to look at things.
Don Sanders has got to add on this.
Yes, I'm from a spiritual tradition that believes we can control our minds, not have our minds control us. And some people call that monkey mind, or my mom used to say, getting too far ahead of yourself with the anxiety thing. And I think for our audience, budding scholars and teen athletes and things, it's like Socrates said, know thyself. So if you can stay positive, learn how to stay positive and still go towards the things that you've known in your bones that you really gravitate towards, consider, even if you have a very successful professional athletic career, you're still going to be young when you're on the other side of it. And so start today working towards what gives you the juice, what you think you want to do to try and make this world a better place. And whether you do or don't succeed in sports,
Nice.
Hugely important.
Definitely. Alex.
I read an interesting quote the other day. It says, with gratitude, optimism is sustainable. And, we get into this negative thinking, especially with teens, kids, they get fearful, they get afraid, they have doubts. And then the negative thinking seeps in or creeps in and if you can just be grateful for what you have, maybe it's a bad performance or it's a bad practice. And, tomorrow's a new day. You just shake it off and you try to dust the dirt off your shoulders and you keep trucking. But you try to be grateful that you can still have a body, have a mind to do those things, to be an athlete, to continue to be a student, because not everyone has those opportunities. So, just trying to live in gratitude and just stay positive. And if you can do that, it's helpful. It's not going to fix our negative thinking. It's always going to be there. Mm-hmm. But we just kind of have to ignore it and, or try to use it maybe as feedback, constructive criticism, maybe, and then move on and try to focus on the next positive thing.
Right. Stephanie.
Yes, I do agree with that. And I try to sit back a lot of times when things are not going well to try to be positive or switch it around. But to be honest with you, sometimes it just piles up and it just turns into more than I can keep saying. It's going to be okay. You can do this one. You can get through this. And I'm not being a victim by any means. I just get really stuck when I always have to be Pollyanna sometimes about things. And, some things just aren't going to be okay no matter what for me. Right now, things are not going to be, I'm not going to be able to say, well, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that, because there comes a point with me after the end of the day, when I've had challenges all day long that I'm frustrated with and I can't get an answer to it, that I can't just switch it around. But yes, I do on a daily basis when things do happen. But sometimes it's just overwhelming, and I can't think of something that's good right at that moment because there's too much piled up. And I'd been doing that all day, and I'm just to a point where, maybe I should just. That's a good point. Maybe at that point I should just shut down and go do something else.
Take a walk. Take those puppies out for a walk. Dominique, finish it up. We've got to go to break.
Well, I was just going to say that's a strong reality for a lot of people. They hit the end of the day and they're like, what good news? So at that point, there's the old saying, this too shall pass away. Mm-hmm. And there's what I'm trying to say is the one thing we can count on about life, things change. Everything around us, we see evidence of that. Things change. So we do the best we can to hope that they change for the future. And that word hope is a very interesting word. It's a way to visualize a future of the way I want it to be. So if you can't find something grateful today, visualize what you want for the future.
All right, we've got a lot of show. Dawn, are you ready? Dawn's going to be up right after these messages.
Say, move for me, move for me, move for me, hey, hey. When you're done, I'll make you do it all again. Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, hey, hey. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. I said,
we are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hi, I'm Don Sanders, donsmassageohio.com, and I'm going to give you a hygge for your consideration. A hygge is a feeling, a state of mind, like a warm and comfortable sensation, feeling in your body as though you're getting a physical hug. It's coming from the Norwegian Dutch tradition. And so I was thinking the other day, as some people know, my son died last year on Christmas Eve. And recently, my spiritual practice involves daily chanting, and I've been feeling a connection to him, just imagining that he's doing that with me. That's been really helping. And then another thing I adopted recently was I got some fabulous Father's Day cards from my two daughters, who are both really, really, really good artists. And so I had them there. And then my wife, through the Interfaith Council, she went into a little workshop called about manifesting. And so somehow that led her to reorganizing and cleaning out all the clutter in her spaces. So we had actually many years ago swapped sides of the bed. I used to be on the left, her on the right, and we've switched over. So she was going through the little drawers, the end table on her side of the bed, and she found this old Father's Day card from my son. It was just like stick figures, and it was like, "Hi, Dad. Hope you have a good day. Happy Father's Day." And yesterday he's a cook, and so yesterday he's now stopped working 7 days a week so he can be home and trying new recipes. And he's making some fabulous duck breast thing in the kitchen or whatever. And I showed him that old Father's Day card, made him laugh, and so call it the little things. Enjoy the little things. That's something my younger daughter hits me with a lot. But so now at the side of my bed, I have this wonderful dragon, because I used to draw them dragons, a wonderful dragon from my younger daughter, a on-the-spot seascape that my older daughter painted for me before Father's Day. And then this old-timey, stick figure drawings, Happy Father's Day from my son. So there you have it. Anybody else have anything like this that just, comes out of nowhere and totally gives you the juice?
Dominique.
Absolutely. I actually went back to doing what I call a sort of a vintage journal. And I have been collecting some of the things that my kids send me and put them in there, because when I did my first one, when one of my kids came to visit, she looked at it and it was so charming. She said, "Mom, will you please make sure that when you're not around anymore, that I get these books because they're just so charming." And that's part of the hygge sensation of comfortable conviviality. It's like the things in our life that bring us happiness and joy that we share with others. The more we surround our atmosphere with that, the more that is part of our reality.
I do that with Christmas cards. I always get that one Christmas card or one birthday card that just hit me, and I throw it in a box. And I've got probably 30 years of thank you cards, Christmas cards, just people reaching out and connecting, because then it relates you to that time and place where your mind and your space was at. And that's why I try to, with kids and teen athletes, look at who you have around you. That should be like number 4 of Adele's little pitch, because if you're going to consume yourself with other people's issues, I often I say this to my friend last week, to say, you should tape record yourself for the day. I'm not judging, but if you tape record yourself and you actually listen to what you're saying, because there's got to be some kind of disconnect, because it's kind of, I love you. You're my friend for 35 years. I have this much space for you, and you need this much, and I'm not that. I don't have it, and I feel like I don't want to let you down, but you've got to think. So maybe turn off the TV, turn off the internet, just turn everything off, because you're an overwhelm. And then the other key thing, when you're in that special space, if you have to emote, and I learned so much from Christine Marie and having her come over on Fridays and playing cards, and she always leaves me these little tidbits of things that she doesn't even know she does this, but I actually hold on to it. And I think of it's almost like the sermon on the card table. Okay? I think about it for a week. So it's true. It's okay to cry. It's okay to get angry. Everything is okay, because Christine can speak to it better. It's that processing of energy, because if you don't process it, it's stuck inside. So I don't care what you do, you sit on a vibration plate, move it around. Okay.
I have to say,
probably use vibration plates.
Just let me say that it was my work with in early childhood education as an infant and toddler caregiver that really came in for me. An infant is so in where they are in the moment. When they're mad, and they go all the way through it. And when they're happy, they're happy. And so that and being in that moment, feeling what you're feeling, crying when you're crying, it's amazing. It does make other people uncomfortable sometimes, because they were taught since they were babies not to cry. But when I honor the process, it is incredible. We are self-regulating beings and organisms, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in all of these ways, when we trust our processes.
Yeah, and I was going to say, we need to think of ourselves collectively too, and not just on the individual basis, because yes, as Dr. Seuss said, whether you like it or not, alone is something you'll be quite a lot, and the places you'll go. But beyond our individual lives, we're social animals, we're social beings. And so, to tell you the truth, my morning was not the most positive in terms of being able to summon up positive thoughts, but just being in the vibe here with all of you, then everybody is churning and working and doing and sharing those things that are changing the whole vibe for all of us as we speak.
Nice. Alex, close it up. We got to go to break.
God, there's so much to unpack here. Don, to speak to what happened with you and your son, that moment that you have where he's there with you. I feel that with my dad when I garden. Oh, and it brings tears to my eyes. Just,
I'm with you.
It's so I'm in the moment now. And we're talking about all this, and we're taught to suppress.
Yes.
Suppress.
Let it out.
Even
Alex,
now I'm suppressing.
Alex, let it out.
Even now I'm suppressing because I need to talk and I have 2 minutes because
But it's so beautiful, Alex.
No,
Looking through your tears.
It's really beautiful. And the same thing happens to me. I think of my son there. That's how I got to the grief of it. Instead of I was feeling like I'm on the other side of a river and I can't reach him. So I really appreciate you sharing that. I'm right there with you.
My eyes are all moved it up, Alex. Thank you. I'm getting now. It's hitting my nose, and I'm going to start sneezing, and you're going to just leave.
It's a great process.
The holy waters.
That is what I call them. On my tarot table, I give great people will often tear up. It's when I know that those are called truth tears, and I call them holy waters, and I thank everyone who brings them to my table. I'm like, oh, you have just honored this table with those holy waters. So thank you.
And then
Alex, you just
I have
honored.
blessed this conversation with
You
my
have. Yay.
Yeah, and when you can access that grief, then guess what? Right on the other side, a dime's width away is joy. Sometimes we can't find the joy, but and like you said, we always suppress the grief. If we don't suppress the grief and we let it come, right on the other side of that, how many times have all of you experienced joy?
Yeah, always.
Well, Christine Marie is so intuitive. She would just hand me Kleenexes, and then it's over. You know? So saying, so try that with your kids, guys. You know, your teen athletes. It's okay.
It's okay to not be okay. Let it out.
It is. All right, we've got Dominique Hackett, a little coaster tale right after these messages.
Well, now together we will stand, every boy, girl, woman, and a man. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we will stand, every boy, every girl, and a man.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
Hi, this is Dominique Hackett with Santa Barbara Wellness Center. We just had a beautiful hygge sharing from Don Sanders. I'm just going to add a little bit of a cozy tale to this. I was looking at Aesop's Fables, and I realized we don't really retell these fables very much. So I was going to add on just a little short telling. It's a very famous one, but still a whole lot of people haven't heard it. It's about the mouse and the lion. So Aesop was a Greek slave from over, 2,500 years ago. And his stories just got retold because they're really wonderful. So there's a story about a mouse and a lion. The mouse is traveling along on a branch, and he slips and he falls on a sleeping lion. And this lion was like in such a wonderful, wonderful sleep when he was rudely awakened by this mouse falling on him. He picked up his paw and he put his paw down and captured the mouse. And he was just going to eat him because he was disturbed. His sleep was disturbed. And the mouse said to the lion, "Oh, please don't eat me. I didn't mean to wake you up. Please spare my life." And the lion was kind of, sleepy and stuff. And he's like, "Well, I'm not really that hungry right now. And you're only a small bite of food. All right, I guess I'll let you go." So the lion lets the mouse go. Well, about 3 weeks later, a hunter came through. And while the lion was napping, a hunter threw a net over the lion and pretty much captured the lion in this net. And then the hunter took off because he's going to go get some other people in order to capture the lion, kill the lion. We don't know what's going to happen to him. So the lion under this net is roaring in rage that he's been captured. The little mouse hears the lion's roar and comes running. And when he sees him captured in this net, the little mouse starts gnawing. And he is able to gnaw enough of the net to make it so that the lion escapes. And the beautiful thing about the story is we are all unique, and we all have unique gifts to offer to one another. And so in this story, a wee little mouse was able to help, the Lord of the Jungle, a lion. It's amazing. And in a way that neither one of them could have anticipated from the past. They couldn't anticipate the situation. So when we're coming together with families and friends and so forth, one of the gratitude things is to have gratitude that we're all different. We have different ideas, different opinions. We come at life events with different feelings, and to just honor that and know that that coming together, we're able to gift each other a more enjoyable human experience.
Yeah, and now it's a more whole human experience. The more perspectives we have, one of the things I used to talk about in my Waldorf teacher training, this is Christine Marie, is about you need at least as many perspectives as were at the Last Supper, at least 13 perspectives, right? Because it's so important to have all of those perspectives, and they give us a fuller view of things.
I love it.
Awesome.
And I also appreciate Adele focusing on the mental health, because that is like so critical to recognize that we all of us are experiencing various stages of happiness and unhappiness and various depression or light or soft. I mean, you can't exist in this world today without experiencing something, and it's completely normal.
Yeah.
And then you have to look at it. I mean, the lion, you would think they were both targets, right? But one was an accidental crash, the mouse. And then all of a sudden you got this big lion. So if you go around the room, would you want to be the lion or the mouse? Don.
Wow. I think the mouse. That was a compassionate act to go free the lion from the hunter.
Nice. Christine.
Probably the mouse. That would take you have to really face your fears. And there's a point in time where I think it's so, all of us, no matter what age we are, to sort of face our fears and bring our heart into it, the courage,
Dominique.
At different times in my life, I feel like I've been the mouse and I've been the lion. So I enjoy them both.
Of course. Stephanie.
I think the lion, because he was so gentle to let the mouse go.
Yeah, Adele.
I like that.
Well, because cats are one of my favorite animals, I say the lion, and I think that being able to tame the rage and tame the power is admirable, and that's a strength. So, like my sister, I'd be the lion.
Yeah, I'm a lion. I'm lying all day here, and I know what it feels like to be captured too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking around for the mice. Come on, mice! Hello. Maybe the little mouse, if they couldn't get it done, maybe they've got family. You know what I'm saying? You have to bring them all in. Okay? Got a lot of chewing going on. Hey, let's take another little break. We've got Stephanie Forrester right after these messages.
Sounds of silence. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. No one dare disturb the sounds of silence.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hi, this is Stephanie Forrester, community activist. Thank you. I was just listening to Don telling us about his son and pulling open the drawer and finding cards. I happened to be cleaning out some stuff the other day, and I found those paint sticks that you stir in the bucket to stir the paint around, the sticks. I had found a card that my son had made me, and it was a big paint stick. And on top of that, he had glued on a paper plate. And on the paper plate, he had big flowery things like a big sunflower. And in the middle of it, it said, "You are my sunshine." And Ohio's been really cold here. There's been rain. And as I was looking at that, I looked out the window and the sun was coming out. So it just resonated. It was just so beautiful. And I have that hung up now. It was perfect. It was a perfect moment. And I felt like he was going to, handing it to me going, "Its sun is going to come out, Mom."
Aww.
That's so wonderful.
That's a good story.
Christine, thank you.
Just what we were talking about, taking notice. You took notice. You paused. You took notice.
Yeah,
that's wonderful, and the joy it brought you.
That's
and it's the first thing I have, Justin, hanging up. I don't have a picture or anything, but when I see that sunflower, I just smile.
Nice, Christine. Let's do a card.
Okay, well, actually, rather than picking one, I just want to talk about for a moment the Seven of Swords, which is a card that means whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are correct. Meaning, it's our thoughts that take us where we need to go. Energy follows thought, and I think a direct example for that is people who know they have good parking and always get good parking, and opposite wise people who can never get good parking, and who think they don't have good parking and never get good parking. And I know, because I have good parking karma, but one of my close family members does not. So it's palpable. It's amazing. In fact, I won't even let that person speak when I'm going somewhere. Like, shh, 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 shh. We're doing good parking right now. So it's kind of funny, So teens, you can do that too.
I love Put them in the back. Bad parking God, people in the back seat. That's awesome.
Try not to think about allow just even a 15% possibility that things might be the opposite of what you think. That's where the miracles come in, right? And if you can't do 15%, even 1%, let a tiny crack of light in to the negative thoughts where our brain goes to. Thank you, Adele, for talking about how our brain's wired to do that. Mm-hmm. We are the only ones that can kind of shift it if we can become conscious of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had my first boss I ever had. I'll never forget. He puts the 3 A's on the board. I'm like, am I at the wrong place? Right. So, and he goes, it's attitude, not aptitude that gets altitude. So it really is what you put in your mind. This whole story that we've been telling today is all about a mindset, and kids, parents, grandparents. We just need to carry the torch, because we've got a lot going on in the country. We've got craziness, really. Mm-hmm. And now we've got this launching of AI. You don't even know if you're talking to the person you think you're talking to. I mean, it's crazy stuff. So sometimes maybe disconnect. The best thing that we did this last month, we went to go see the flower farms down at Carlsbad.
San Diego, Carlsbad.
That was amazing. Put that on your bucket list. And then next month, we're going to be going to the pageant of the Masters. Put that on your bucket list. Oh, yeah. Make things, families, that you could do something together. All right. Hold on to that. God bless you all. God bless the world. See you next week.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche.